Hi, I'm Tim, and I wanted to share a new roadmap visualization that I've been working on for the package group. One of the challenges that I've had typically when walking through customers in a pitch deck is how do you represent not just the categories that we're working on, but the different themes that we're approaching as a stage. And so what we created here is something similar to a metro map. And just looking quickly through the legend here, we could see where we clearly state the vision that the goal of the package group is within 3 years to be the single source of truth for storing and distributing of packages and images for all GitLab customers. We also have a metric key here. So each subway line or theme focuses on a specific metric. Now, each feature that's listed may have a submetric, but generally speaking, when we talk about making the product more useful, we're thinking about Gmail or monthly active users. When we're thinking about efficiency, generally we're thinking about improving our margins. So here the key metric is cost per user. And then when it comes to making the product more secure and compliant, we're thinking about paid Gmail because many of those features will end up in GitLab Ultimate or Premium. So I'd like to start with that summary, starting on the usefulness track. Generally, how I would like to walk through this is to say the first stop is performance and reliability. One thing we've heard over and over from our customers is that the product being stable and reliable is the most important thing. People are using GitLab package as part of their production workflows. So when something breaks, it's a break in their production pipelines, and it could be cause major problems throughout their development lifecycle. On this metric, yes, we're tracking Gmail, but we're also tracking our error budget and app-tech ratios as well. The next stop there is adding support for net new formats. So right now we have about 10 plus formats that are supported with the package registry. But adding new formats allows us to drive top of funnel usage. So let's say we add support for RPM, which is frequently requested by customers. That allows us to introduce a whole segment of users that are not currently using the package product to start using it. And then through contributions and improvements, we'll drive them further and further down the funnel. Speaking of driving users further down the funnel, we have some formats that are in alpha or beta mode, beta support. So basically, these are formats that you can use, but they're not considered generally available. One thing that we'd like to do is ensure that continuously, as we launch new package manager formats from alpha, beta to GA, that we're continuing to step up the maturity of each of those formats. Another aspect that we see on the line is having more metadata available for dependencies. So typically, people are using the user interface or when they're looking at a package, they use package metadata to validate that the package was built properly. And if it wasn't, they'll use that same exact metadata to troubleshoot what went wrong. So having all of that available, discoverable, and searchable is something that's really important for our user base. I mentioned discoverability. So as we start to think about just in general, the usability and discoverability of the product is something that's really important for our users. It's complicated. They're publishing a lot of images and packages every day. So making sure that it's easy to find what they're looking for when they're looking for it is a way that we can improve developer experience. And going back to our 3-year vision, one of the reasons people like migrating to GitLab and why they want to get off Artifactory is because of developer experience. So the more that we could double down on that, the more dividends that will pay further down the road. The next item that's worth highlighting on this green track is the virtual registries feature. So on our 3-year vision, we want to be the single source of truth for all GitLab customers. We're doing a good job of that today with small to mid-sized customers. It's a little bit more challenging when we get to large, complex organizations with thousands, 10,000 plus developers. And one key missing feature is this idea of a virtual registry, which allows you to say proxy and cache proxy and cache from many external remote repositories. So for instance, if we're talking about Maven, you could set up one virtual registry that will be behind one URL that will pull dependencies from Maven Central, from Artifactory, from Sonatype, and from any other arbitrary number of sources. This allows admin to not have to maintain multiple config files on each developer's machine. This feature is brought up every week by several customers as a key missing feature. It's something that we are striving to work towards. Next, I'd like to touch on efficiency. This is something that we're really focusing on now. So making sure that we are driving down the overall cost per user. And really there's two ways that we could do that. One is by doing things like adding limits, which encourages user behavior by limiting the amount of storage that they could use or the amount of data transfer capacity that they have. The other is by launching features that will help encourage them to remove storage or to reduce their data transfer. So here we just see as an example, cleanup policies for the container registry and package registry, storage visibility. So making sure that we're reporting how much storage is being used at the project group namespace level. There's one feature here that I think is really important. It's how are packages and images being used? This is something I typically hear from premium and ultimate customers. They want to know not only how much storage are they using, but by whom are given packages being used by. So being able to have that data and then also clean up old packages based on that data would be very useful. And then we start to get into storage and data transfer limits, which are things that will help GitLab to control margins from the top down. Finally, just touching on the security line here. So the first thing that's worth mentioning is our goal for the package group, and beyond that, as GitLab as a whole, is to have 0 beyond SLO security issues. That's critical to our long-term success, and it's something that we track and discuss regularly. Another thing is we hear regularly from customers that come on that they like the way GitLab handles authentication and authorization, but we need to improve the way that we handle permissions, especially as we consider expanding use cases to things like virtual registries. We need to make sure that it's easy for administrators to manage who has permission to which projects and to which dependencies. Something else that we're working on, and I think the same thing could be said to be true about other stages, but it's worth calling out here because this will be a way for us to have tiers in the ultimate level, a tighter connection with GitLab Secure and Defend. We have a lot of crossover between our two stages, so making sure that the products really do work well together and seamlessly together is something that will be really important as we move forward. Beyond that, we have the dependency firewall, which will allow you to filter upstream dependencies before they're ever downloaded. So if, for instance, you could say, never download a dependency in which the author or email name has changed within the past 30 days. Or from a compliance perspective, you could say, never download a dependency that has this license or this creator. In addition, there are other features that we're hoping to add here, such as image and binary signing with cosign. So you'd be able to verify, when the image or package is built, you can sign it using cosign so that you could verify to your customers downstream of you that this is the exact image or package that was built. And here's who it was built by, and you could have that extra attestation of dependencies. So this is still, we're still working on it. This is going to be a living document. We're maintaining it right now in Figma. Probably these deserve monthly or bi-monthly updates. The idea was to not put timelines on here, but to just show thematically what we're working on and why, so we can kind of show the different tracks of the package group and how we can measure success of each of these different tracks. Let me know if you have any questions or suggestions, and yeah, thanks for watching.